Hello and welcome back to Sega News Bits. I'm your host, the thief, George, and with me is the policeman Barry.
You're under arrest.
And today we're talking about legal actions that have been happening with Sega. At least Sega's being accused of getting the police to recover prototypes that they disposed of when they moved their Sega UK offices. And you know what? When I was reading this story, and the more I got into it, I was like, this actually kind of does sound like Sega Europe in a way, like some of the stuff.
Yeah, they're the worst.
So the story, let's break it down. Sega's UK office moved, and they disposed of a bunch of old Sega, not like Sega prototypes and dev kits, Nintendo dev kits. An anonymous seller legally bought the large lot of electronics from a removals worker for about 10,000 euros or pounds. I don't know what they use over there. This lot included valuable Nintendo development kits, including the DSi, the 3DS, the Wii, etc., and some unreleased prototypes. Some of the unreleased prototypes that are getting a lot of people interested, obviously, are the Sonic Chronicles, the Dark Brotherhood, Sonic Generations, an unreleased Rhythm Thief, and the Emperor's Treasure, which is supposed to be a DS version of the game that actually never came out. So that's why a lot of people are very interested in this. So what do you think about these? Like, are you interested in a DS version of Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure?
I mean, so is it a 3DS or is it a downgraded DS version before they made the 3DS one?
We won't know because they won't let us see it. But I want to see what the graphics would look like and how the models would look like. Because I like the old DS graphics. It reminds me of, Sega Saturn stuff. So to me, I'm like, that would be sick, to see. The story gets even stranger, though. So a private investigator, apparently hired by Sega, allegedly, contacted the seller. Then on July 14th, 2025, a team of police officers raids the seller's home. The seller is arrested on suspicion of money laundering, held for 8 hours, and has his DNA and fingerprints taken. Police seize the dev kits and the prototypes, but leave behind the other items. So they went directly for dev kits and prototypes. It wasn't just everything. Like, they had a mission when they went in. So now the seller's under investigation still. He accuses Sega of using the police to get back items that they carelessly threw away. A search warrant used for the raid is described as defective and unlawfully named Sega as a private representative. Sega has not responded to any of the legal letters and has been silent on the matter. So from this point, what's your opinion? Like, is Sega really here? Do you think Sega contacted the police for this kind of stuff?
I mean, it like you said, like Sega Europe is the most litigious of all arms of Sega. They've gone after fan books. They went after an unofficial Dreamcast game price guide, which is the weirdest thing. Like, Sega's not making one of those. How is that hurting them? And yet they went after them. So they are very happy to send cease and desists. I'd say more negative things about them, but it wouldn't surprise me that they did this. And what's that? Well, I don't want to be too mean. They seem quite unprofessional in many areas I've experienced over the years, and it would not surprise me if they had the police do this. And the fact that I don't know if you mentioned it, but like they might have destroyed everything already.
That's the rumor, and I've been noticing. So the story has been covered a lot by Time Extension, so I guess we'll give them credit for actually covering this, because I don't think a lot of mainstream outlets are covering this. And the Video Game Preservation Twitter account has been tweeting nonstop that they need this to go bigger because they're involved, because I think they wanted to buy the prototypes. preserve.
Right, yeah. I mean,
So-
I think a lawsuit should be brought against Sega if they truly were involved, and I don't think it's going to end with them paying back the small amount that the person paid for it. I think, I truly think this is very wrong if Sega did order this. Like, you can't do this shit.
I agree. There's some people in the comments that I've noticed in some places, they're like, you can't blame Sega without them actually coming out and saying it. But I feel like when a story comes out like this and they're just remaining silent a little bit, I don't know, it gives me a bad vibe. So I'm hoping that Sega responds and they're like, actually, we didn't. But the fact that the cops knew the dev kits and the prototypes were what they were going after makes me seem that someone with knowledge of video games prior to this are involved. And I mean, the only people that would know about what prototypes they needed back would be Sega. So this incident actually raises questions about private corporations using police power to handle civil matters. Do you think Sega should have just literally offered him money since he legally purchased these items? They're his belongings. Should Sega just offered him 50,000 euros or gave him some sort of like VIP package of his dreams, right? Give him some rare Sega or Dreamcast swag that you can't get anywhere else. Does this man deserve something else besides being raided by cops, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I think to make it right, they should just return everything and not do this shit, because there's nothing illegal about any of this. It was, like, I don't see the illegality of it. It seems like overreach. It's kind of surprising that it's not happening in America, to be quite honest.
I'm actually surprised too. And the dev kits were actually legally Nintendo's property. That's how dev kits work. They don't belong to Sega. They belong to the company that issues them. And there's strict rules on how you return them and you dispose of them. You think this is actually bad for Sega with their relationship with Nintendo, or at least the story makes it seem a little like Nintendo has to be upset with this whole thing, right? You can't just like throw these dev kits into the trash.
Right. I mean, it seems though that like Sega are on the hook with Nintendo for throwing away dev kits that are a property of Nintendo. However, now that someone found them, sold them to someone else, it's no longer the case. You know what I mean? Like, there's a degree of separation there where Sega's the one who should be in trouble with Nintendo. Nintendo shouldn't get a free pass and just be able to like raid people's houses.
Well, we don't think. Well, how can you tell me the word is doing rating? I think personally that maybe they didn't care too much about the prototypes. I don't know. I mean, I don't think Sega cares too much about that. I think they were more scared that those dev kits will go out in the market and people will tie them back that they came from Sega Europe, and then Sega Europe has to deal with Nintendo complaining about them and maybe not giving them as many dev kits as they want next time, and some developers, maybe UK developers, suffering a little bit. I think that's the actual nightmare scenario. But what does everyone out there think about this whole story? You think I don't think it's overblown, but what do you guys think? Do you think Sega should say something publicly at least? Let us know your thoughts down below.